What's up, YouTube? This is Hector from Not Too Nerdy, and I figured since I'm already waiting for this episode 3 in harm's way for The Walking Dead Season 2 to finally show up so I could download it, I might as well, go over big news that happened today. So the first big thing, like everyone knows by now, is the Xbox One is now $399. Now, they decided to get rid of the Kinect, which everyone been saying since day one they should have did, and they decided to get rid of the Kinect. So because of them getting rid of the Kinect, now the price is officially $399. So this is great news for a lot of people. This is a way for Microsoft to catch up with Sony. That was one of the biggest reasons why people did not buy the console. Obviously, the other reason is because at the moment, Sony seems like the superior console, but at the same time, that gap is closing very quickly. So this is a good move. This is a good move. The only problem I have with this move is the fact that they announced this too early. And I told Brother Rabbit this. He made a video about announcing this news, and I pretty much said that I think they said this too early. Like, you have a month until E3 comes out, E3 is not until June 9th. Okay, well, their conference is June 9th. So Sony won't announce their stuff until the nighttime, June 9th. I honestly think that, which kind of sucks, 'cause I'm kind of worried because we know Sony needs money right now. Like, they're in a position where they don't have to lower the price, but I kind of feel that Sony might lower the price to $350. Now, if you stop to think about how could Sony possibly do that without taking a loss, well, if they actually reduce the amount of the hard drive, the space, if they sell a cheaper PS4 with a smaller amount of hard drive space, which obviously these games are a lot bigger these days, people might not want that, but at the same time, if you give them a $350 price range and it's $50 cheaper, people might actually buy that. And it also makes it sound like, guess what, the PlayStation 4 once again is cheaper than the Xbox One. I feel like they might do that. Now, is it going to be the smartest move for Sony? If they, like I said, if they actually reduce the price of it by getting a smaller hard drive, then yes, it's fine. They don't take a loss still. They can still gain money off it. But if they keep the same console that they have now and they lower the price, that's going to be a mistake for Sony. I think that they're okay with $400, but if they do offer a smaller hard drive space, then I think that's fine, because you gotta keep in mind, people could always upgrade the hard drive in the PlayStation. So later on, people could upgrade it if they want a better or bigger hard drive. So they could buy the cheaper console now and upgrade later. So I think that is something that they have the option of doing, and I think they might actually do that. With a month to go till E3, I think that they have plenty of time to prepare that. So do not be shocked if you see a PlayStation 4 model for $350, and I almost guarantee, like, that's the best way for them to do it, that they sell it with a cheaper hard drive, like a smaller hard drive, maybe a 250 gigabyte hard drive, maybe a 200 gigabyte, I don't know, just something smaller that you could still save some games, maybe 4 or 5 games tops, 6 games tops. And if you want to upgrade later, you can always have the option to upgrade by changing the hard drive. So I would not be shocked if that's what Sony does. The way Microsoft announced it now completely, gave Sony an opportunity to do this. Because you got to keep in mind that you could pre-order it now. If you go to Amazon, you could pre-order the Xbox One without Kinect, but you have a long time. It does not come out to June 9th, the day of Xbox One's conference, or Microsoft conference. So, I mean, we'll see. Either way, it's a great move by Microsoft. I'm sorry to say Kinect was not successful at all. A lot of people know this. The only thing I'm kind of curious about is these apps. How the heck are some of these apps going to work without the Kinect now? Like, talk about Record Studio, all that stuff. Like, how are you going to record stuff? Like, the voice and stuff like that. Because before, it uses the Xbox One camera, the Kinect. So what exactly are you supposed to do now? They're going to have to change some of these buttons around. So I'm kind of curious how or what they're going to do, because they're going to have to change a lot of things. So you're going to see a lot more updates coming soon, because they're going to have to change button layouts and a whole bunch of other things without the Kinect. So I'm interested to see what they're going to do with that. Now, on to more news with Xbox. or Microsoft, I guess, is the Xbox One now is getting rid of the sort of like the paywall where you have to have an Xbox Live Gold in order to see Netflix and all those other apps. I think that's great, but to be honest with you, they should have had that day one. This is something that, it never made sense to anyone. Why the heck, if I'm paying for these apps individually, why am I getting charged once again for a service of yours? Like you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. These apps are free everywhere else. Those apps are free. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't understand. And that's like the Amazon Fire TV that I have. Like, how pissed off I would be that I bought the device and then they have Netflix app there and they're going to charge me with their membership. I have to have Amazon Prime in order to watch Netflix. Does that make any sense to you? No, because I'm already paying monthly for Netflix. So why do I have to pay again? So I'm just happy they changed it. But to be honest with you, they should have had it from the start. But hey, at least now they have it. They also announced they're going to have Halo Spartan Assault for free free with gold or whatever it is for Xbox One. I think that's great. Hopefully they start getting better games. They're going to give you 2 free games as opposed to 1 now. They're trying to keep pace with the PlayStation. So it just seems like that's the trend right now. Whatever Sony's doing, make sure you're doing it too, or try to do it better. And obviously that should always be your motto. Like, whoever is your competition, try to stay ahead of the pace, stay ahead of them. So that should have always been their model, but it seems like that's what they're going with now. So that's still good. Like I said, I'm kind of curious what they're going to do without the Kinect, though. But hey, let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. Now, in other news, because there's so much news that came out today. Now, Ubisoft announced that, well, let me backtrack real quick. A couple days ago, on the Sony's website, they announced that Watch Dogs will be 1080p 60 frames per second. Then the very next day, they took down the sentence that said 1080p 60 frames per second. So now Ubisoft came out and clearly said that the game will run, let's look at exact specs, will run 900p on the PS4 and 792p on the Xbox One at 30 frames per second. So that's the official resolution in frames per second. So that's 900p and 792p, okay? Like, I don't know what to think about this. I pretty much knew this, it's too good to be true. I'm like, there's no way, because I would have been disappointed because I got it for the PC as well. And I'm thinking that all the specs that they said that you need to run on the PC, I'm looking at it, I'm like, how the heck is a PlayStation running 1080p at 60 frames per second? Unless they completely took out like a whole bunch of objects and different things in the world to let you run it. But I'm like, there's no way that's possible. So this makes a lot more sense. To be honest with you, I'm going to enjoy the specs a lot more on the PC, but I'm still getting the PlayStation 4 version now because I want to play against other people, like with friends and stuff like that online. But besides that, I mean, 900p isn't too bad, but at the same time, I can't blame it for not being 1080p because of the open world, And I know people are going to be like, well, Sony said this. To be honest with you, Sony said something and it backfired because there's no way in hell. I just knew that the specs that they showed for the PC, it just had me question how the heck is Sony gonna, how's the PS4 gonna run that at 1080p at 60 frames per second, And it turns out they can't even do 1080p at 30 frames per second. So it's whatever. I'm sure 900p and 792p should look decent. 792p, I don't know how the hell is that low. It should be, I don't know. I digress. The resolution obviously is going to be superior on PC. You saw the specs. That's what it's going to be on a PC. So that's what I'm looking forward to. But I'm just going to have fun with this game either way. Hopefully it lives up to the hype. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, since we're talking about resolution anyway, is the people that created The Witcher 3, they said that pretty much they brought down resolution. They said that resolution doesn't matter. They didn't specify what what the games could be running on the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. But what they did say is that they talked to their specialists and said that you can't really tell the difference between 720p and 1080p. It depends on the distance that you are from the TV. And with that, I gotta say that is BS. Okay, you could clearly tell the difference now. It's no longer like before. Almost every single person has a 55-inch TV or bigger as their main TV. And if you're playing that on one of those TVs, you cannot tell me that you cannot tell the difference between 720p and 1080p. That's a load of crap. That's just a load of crap. That's a load of crap. Once you're looking at big TVs, you could tell the difference between resolution. This is the way it is. Now, if your TV is 42 inches smaller, okay, maybe some people can't tell the difference. I agree with that. But once you get the bigger TVs, which a lot of people have big TVs, a lot of people do. I forgot, I saw some survey a long time ago. They said like 60% of people have TVs or larger 50-inch screens now in their house. At least one TV like that. That's a lot of people that have that. So for you to tell me that you can't tell the difference, you're full of like BS right now. So clearly, to me, what that tells me is that I don't think that it's going to run at 1080p on either console, or the fact that it might run 1080p on one of the consoles, which more than likely be PS4, and they just don't want it to sound like the PS4 is better than the Xbox One version, which is fine, but like, don't give us some BS. Like, don't even talk about resolution then. Like, don't even bring it up then. Just wait till the last second to tell people. That's it. You know what I mean? But don't tell me that you can't tell the difference between 1080p and 720p. Now, there is some people that debate if you could tell the difference between 4K and 1080p. Maybe that's something you could debate. Because the only way you can tell the difference is if you're looking at TV screens over 70 inches. That's when you really tell the difference in 4K and 1080p. But anything smaller than 70 inches, you're not really going to tell as much. I agree with that. But don't give me that crap that you won't tell the difference between 1080p and 720p when your screen more than likely is 50 inch or higher or bigger. Don't give me that. That's just not the way it is. Just stop. Stop. All right. And that's pretty much it. So let me know what you guys think about any of these news topics. And hopefully I can finally download this episode 3. And definitely check this out tonight or tomorrow right here on Not Too Nerdy ENT. So this is Hector from Not Too Nerdy. I'm out. See you, YouTube.